All right, let's see what are the things that can go wrong and what happens if you don't, if the procedure is not like straightforward, like we did here. And this is something that's going to happen. That's the process of creating UVs. It's not like a linear process that you go through those steps and it's going to be like, yay, working. So you need to go back and forth between, like, especially the step 3 and step 2 and sometimes step 1. You need to just loop through them until you get to your final result. You need to repeat that process for different parts of the geometry until you create UVs for the whole 3D object. Okay, so I want to start over with this cylinder and this time show you what are the things that can go wrong. So first I'm just going to delete history and freeze transformation. All right. And all right, so here I'm going to go to UV shells and start the process just like that. Okay, and be like, okay, so I have this shell. Let's just make some errors. Maybe I select those shells and before I cut the correct cuts, I just do unfold. Oh, it was already cut. Silly me. Okay, never mind. So we could probably just do that in the previous video, but that's fine. We use that as an example, as a learning like experience. But let's just do this. I'm gonna do another projection for that, maybe planar. Okay, and it gives me this. All right. So this one, I'm sure it doesn't have any cut because it doesn't come with the default like shape. For the default UVs, it already had the cut. But this one, it doesn't show any cut. How do I know? I have this option turned on that says show texture borders. You see that if there's a border, it's going to show up as white. On the side, there are no borders. There's other ways you can check that. One would be before cutting it, if you click unfold, it's going to do this. Why does it do that? Because there are no cuts. And you can see that it kind of keeps, let's just go to the edge mode. This is the top edge. So you double click, select it. It's just going to be highlighted in here as well. So you can see that it keeps this edge and then it's like as if it's being pressed at the top, but because there is no cuts, then it's like this, right? And this is not good. If you see when you turn on your checker pattern, you can see that it is all skewed and that's not how it should be, all right? So let's say you forgot to do the cuts and now you did that. Well, how you can fix it? Well, actually, it doesn't matter. You can still do the cuts for the flattened out shell. I can go to edge mode. And in this case, let's just select, it doesn't matter for this one. Select any of those edges, okay? And then hit, go to cut and sew, okay? Hit cut. Now that it is cut, I can select that shell again, okay? Select the shell, hit unfold, and this time it wraps up. It is unwrapped correctly, all right? Because now it has the correct cuts, right? So that's one of the things that can go wrong. So at any point, if you see like there are some issues when you hit unfold, it doesn't work, you can always go back to your cut and sew like step, which is before that, and maybe do the correct cuts, okay? So I'm just gonna undo that to show you one other thing. So let's say in here, I know, oh, okay, I didn't make the cuts, let's just make the cuts. So instead of clicking on this edge here, you just double click here, and all those other edges are also selected. So when you hit cut, those are cut as well, okay? And then when you go to UV shell, you just select everything and be like unfold. And then like this happens. What is this? It's like, you know, 2 cuts and this one, it already has like an extra cut, okay? So how do you fix that? Well, it's pretty easy. So you just need to highlight the edges that are now separated. Like I can see that this is the edge that is being separated, all right? Then I can go to my UV shell, maybe rotate this one and place it where it should be. It's right there. How do I know? Because if I go to edge mode, you see those edges are adjacent. Okay, so that's how I know. And let's also maybe rotate them so it's a little bit straight, just like that. So I see that the edges are adjacent. So I'm like, yay, awesome. Well, you need to check one more thing. You need to go to UV, which is like the vertex of the UV space, and you click on like these two vertices and make sure that they are adjacent. Like, because there are two ways that I can maybe have this UV shell laid out. It could also maybe be like this. Well, I guess not. Okay. Just going to select maybe this UV vertex and it shows up right there. So I think everything should be correct now. It doesn't hurt to just, double check things. All right. So now that I have these two UV shells aligned, what I can do is that I can sew them back. Okay. So I can use this maybe sew tool. Okay. To just sew these two edges together. Maybe I need to select those edges. Oh, okay. See, I rotated it the wrong way. I'm glad I did that because now you can see that the sew tool, it just doesn't work. It's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like, I cannot sew these together. In the 3D space, they're not adjacent, right? Sorry, in the UV space, they're not adjacent. So I need to just, fix that. Go to the UV shell and rotate it just like that. All right. Now, if I select this edge, they are adjacent, and then I will go to my sew tool, and you can hold down B on the keyboard to make this sew tool like range different. You definitely don't want to do this because it's just going to stitch together everything. Make sure that you're setting it up in a correct range, and then do this. Voila, snap together. There is no seam back there. Let's also do the same thing here. I can see that I cut the wrong edges here because it shows up as white. So I can just click on that, gone. Click on this one, gone. Okay, hit Q to get out of that tool. And then you will go to UV shells, select all the shells and hit unfold. Okay, now it works correctly. I don't see any extra seams in here. Those are very important. I can select all those shells and then go to my arrange and layout because I already have set up those options. I can just click on the layout and then it will nicely put them together. If it's expanded like this, I will scale all of them together down. And just like that, I will have my UVs set up, okay? So that's how you can address some issues with the UVs. Let's say you created like something crazy. You cannot figure out how to, let's say, okay, I'm just going to create something. Let me just do this. I will create this. Maybe select some faces. I'm just going to try to create a crazy thing. Okay. So with this one, I'm sometimes maybe it would be best to do like a camera-based UV projection. You can do that too, like with this one, because I want to create some errors, I'm just going to use the camera based, okay? And then I'm basically taking an image of my object, right? But here I did not select the bottom parts. So the bottom parts, they do not, they just remain there, okay? So let's say that I create like, I do something crazy. I don't know, I'm just going to create some very crazy errors. Okay, so let's say I selected those edges and then I hit cut and then maybe I unfold all of them and it's like this and I cannot figure out how to address that. Well, in that case, maybe the easiest way to add, you see that I also messed up this one, right? So maybe at this stage, the easiest way to fix that would be to just well, this one is easy to fix, but this is a little bit like chaotic, right? Maybe at this point, if finding out the correct edges to cut is hard, what you can do is that you can select those shells, or sorry, actually go to face and select those faces, and then do another projection, like start from the create instead of like cut and sew. Okay, so at this point, maybe I want to do, let's see. I'm just going to do a planar projection, but I'm going to go to the options because I need the top part of the cylinder. I'm just going to go to maybe y-axis and then do a project. Okay. And it gives me something like that. It's as if like you can see that the sides are crazy, but look at the top. It's pretty nice. It's all correct because I projected from the y direction, right? You can proceed from this point on in two ways. You can either go to face mode and select those faces, do another projection, this time planar for those, or you can actually cut your UVs. Like I can go to my edges mode and select that ring and then cut that, right? And then here, I'm just going to go to UV shells, separate that. Well, this ring is actually this. So what you can do is that you can, yeah, maybe it would be easier to just project again for this one. So for this one, I will do, again, another planar projection, but this time I'm going to do it toward the X or Z axis. It doesn't matter. Okay. Apply. All right. Okay, so now every face is correct. They all have UVs. I only need to go back here and maybe go to my edge mode and use the cut, maybe the sew tool, this one, to just sew them together, and it would be nice and clean. Okay. How about this one? Well, you can see that some parts of it is showing up correctly, but some other parts like nope, because this shell, I'm just going to hit Q on the keyboard so I can go to shell by right clicking. So because you can see that this shell, it doesn't have any cuts. Okay, so I need to make a cut for this. So remember this, if you don't select the edges and then hit cut, it's just gonna cut everything. Do you see that? That's a big no-no. If you see that happening, yeah, sew them back together or maybe do like, select those faces and do the projection again. Okay, planar. Okay, do the projection again. And this time, when you want to click on the cut, make sure that you select the edges you want to be cut. Okay, you don't want seams all over your geometries. All right, so I'm just gonna select any of those lines, doesn't matter at this point, cut them, and then I will select the shell and be like unfold, right? Same process after this, like, select everything and then layout, select everything together, hit R to scale them just a little bit down and maybe move them around as you wish. Okay. All right, perfect. These are all the things that I could think of that might go wrong for the UVs. I hope this is helpful. The same process is true for all the complicated shapes that you see here. So you just, evaluate, redo the create UVs and then cut and sew. And then once everything seems correct, you just go to the layout and that's your final stage. Remember, those patterns, they should show up correctly. That's one. The other thing that I check for this assignment is that I will check the seams. Like I want to see like you cut the correct edges. If everything is cut, it's a big no-no. And then the layout should look nice and clean, just like that. All right. I hope you have fun at this stage with UVing.